Haunted Orphanage. I made it. Hopefully it's a crazy night. Hopefully I get some communication from whoever still might be here. My name is Steve Stoltz. This is my solo investigation of the Haunted Orphanage in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Established in November of 1866 for children who lost parents during the American Civil War, the National Soldiers' Orphan Homestead housed 130 boys and girls at any given time. In its darkest days, the home was ran by Rosa Carmichael, who was a harsh disciplinarian. She would often beat and torture the children, including taking the unruliest ones and chaining them up in the basement for days. Some say an unknown number of children even died from those beatings and tortures. The beatings and the torturing continued even after Rosa Carmichael herself was arrested, fined, and then allowed back into the orphanage until the sheriff closed down the facility for good in 1877. The building still sits in the shadows of the hell wreaked on the orphaned children nearly 150 years ago. It is now a hot spot for paranormal activity, with experiences ranging from disembodied voices of the children and numerous people being physically touched. Some claim to see Rosa Carmichael's dark spirit lurking in the basement, trapped and angry. During the pre-investigation walkthrough, as I was preparing for my 2-hour lockdown, Bob Michels, a ghost and history tour guide, was able to provide me with more detailed information on the horror that took place in this building 150 years ago.
So this was here, this cellar. She would mistreat the children. They were beaten, starved, shackled. And we've had 5 mediums over the years to help us flesh this out because the historic record's really skimpy. And when one would leave, we'd hire another one. So they never heard each other. And I heard of all 5 of them. I found it interesting how they would, every one of them said that the kids were shackled more than we think. And every one of them said that more than one child died. The historic record says 1 child died. One of them said it's the tip of the iceberg. Myself, I do believe more than 1 child died because of some of the paranormal activity that happens here. And I feel certain that a baby died because the story is that one of her girls got in a family way. She was mad about that, but then she said, when the baby comes, it's mine. And she took the baby. Nobody ever saw it again. People in the gift shop have heard a baby crying in that back room, and they go back there. There's nobody there, of course.
Okay. I'm coming in peace. Don't mean anybody any harm. It is pitch black in here. You can't see a thing. Hello, my name is Steve, and I come to you tonight in complete respect, but also some sadness. I come all the way from Kansas to see who's here. It is heavy. It is so heavy in here. If there's anybody here that would like to communicate with me, there's a device here in the middle of the floor that's not going to hurt you. I promise you. If you're a child, you've been hurt enough already. I have I have 3 children of my own. I have a girl that's 21, but I have boys that are both 8 and 10. My 8 and 10-year-old boys wanted me to bring you something, and they named it just for you. His name is Sparky. He's a little toy puppy, very soft. He's gray and white. I'm not sure what kind he is. Looks kind of like a Yorkie. So I'm going to place it over here by this device on the floor. Do you like puppies and animals? Would anybody like to communicate with me tonight? Again, I come in total respect and peace, and I'm talking to the children that were in this orphanage. Rosa Carmichael, I will talk to you later. I'm going to put my K2 right on the puppy, and that puppy is yours. If you want that puppy, you can take him. His name is Sparky. And if you want Sparky, you can have him. I'm going to leave him here for you children. I'm going to spread these out a little bit. Okay, I have a K2. Right here on a bear that's been left. You can see other animals and balls. And then Sparky. And then the rim device. That device with the metal piece that's sticking out, you don't even have to touch it. You have to get a little close to it, but you don't have to touch it. Steve. I come by myself. Nobody else down here with you except for me. Just got a K2 hit. Can you light that up for me again, please? I want to communicate with the children that are here, that still reside here at this orphanage.
For 15 more minutes, I sat quietly in the pitch-black darkness, listening and watching for any signs that the orphans wanted to communicate with me. It was as if I was in this stone-walled cage, alone with no light, no voices, just utterly alone. Suddenly, after what seemed like an eternity, it appears something or someone was trying to get my attention. This would start a chain of events, as a myriad of sounds were heard by me, as well as those picked up by my audio recorders that were completely inaudible to my ears.
Here I am. Holy crap, I just heard something. If that was you, can you do that again? Are there any children that want to take this puppy? I brought it just for you. And my 2 sons, who are probably about your age, named him Sparky. You don't have to be afraid of me. Show me a sign of your presence. What the hell was that?
The sound I heard was what sounded like someone kicking over a pile of sticks in the main room of the basement. Bear in mind, Rosa Carmichael and the older children would beat the smaller misbehaved children while they put them in the very pit I was sitting in. I don't know if the sound captured means anything, but it is very strange to hear that noise from down in the basement based on the history of the way the children were beaten and tortured here some 150 years ago.
Are you scared to communicate with me? Is Rosa Carmichael telling you not to communicate? Rosa, haven't you done enough damage to these kids? I know many people leave animals for you, but the puppy is yours and I want you to have it. That's my way of showing you children that were abused, beaten, murdered, that you have my deepest sympathy that things that happened 150 years ago. Rosa Carmichael. If you are not letting the children communicate with me, then I want you to communicate with me. I want you to tell me why you did what you did. Why did you abuse these children? Why did you have older children whip and put the younger children into this dungeon, into this hellhole? Hadn't these children suffered enough losing their dad in the war? They get sent to you, and you make life absolutely hell for them. Why? Is really, really heavy in here. You can tell a lot of stuff went down in this room. It's okay to communicate with me. What I want you to do is light up these devices that are in front of me. Oh, K2 hit, thank you. Went up to 3. It's just so, it's hard to describe. You know, when you know the history of this place and what happened, particularly in this room, you really can't help but feel the heaviness in here. This room's not very big. And there's no way I could stand up in here. I literally had to crawl in here just to get in here.
With only 2 hours in lockdown, I wanted to make sure I covered all locations thoroughly, so it was time to crawl out of the pit and to another location inside the former orphanage.
Steve coming into the basement. I'm going to put my rim right at the entryway. Rosa Carmichael, did you ever bring anybody down here? You took the worst behaved kids and brought them down here? Wouldn't feed them for days? Either you or the older kids would beat them, put them in the isolation part of the basement, not feed them, shackle them to the walls. Rosa Carmichael, why would you do that? You have a lot to answer for. I want those answers. Rosa, do you ever have any regrets of what you did?
With no responses on my K2, the orphanage's parapuppy, or my RIM device on the other side of the room, I decided to focus on the corridor that leads to the back part of the basement, including the pit area I was in just a few minutes earlier.
It is so freaking pitch black back here. Trying to find a place voice. Okay, got a K2 hit, but I do believe, gotta figure out what's in front of me here. Okay, we got some wires up here. I'll set it off a little bit. Oh, but that lights up like a Christmas tree. Oh wow. That definitely lights it up. Yeah. That is not the place where I want to put this. Oh boy. It's okay. Oh, K2 hit. You want to communicate with me tonight? You can use this device. Oh, got a big one. How many are here tonight? I keep hearing stuff coming from that way. Anybody down there? So I got a couple pretty good K2 hits tonight so far. I sworn I heard a voice in here. Steve tagging. Or possibly could be a voice. That's my recorder, audio recorder over there.
While I can't say what I heard came from the pit, I knew I heard a voice. Upon evidence review, this is what a recorder in the pit captured. As time was winding down on my investigation, I had one final place to visit. With the help of Bob Michels, together we conducted an EVP session in the former dining room of the orphanage that is now a presentation room for guided ghost tours.
If there are any children in here, this being what was your dining room, can you tell me your name? There's 2 ways you can communicate, 3 ways actually. There's a light here over the bench. I'm about 3, yep, there it went. Yep. Thank you. And it's okay. I know you've never met me before, but I come in total respect and some sadness too. I come all the way from Kansas just to meet you. So I appreciate you reaching out back to me. Light up the device if you are a boy. Okay. Are you a girl? Are you Rosa Carmichael? Sometimes I get a feeling Bob, is like the children almost want to. They're afraid. They're afraid to get reprimanded, put down in the dungeon.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can communicate with me and Bob. You're not going to get in any trouble. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's okay. You're going to be all right.
Yep. Bob and I will not let anything happen to you. You have the right to talk to us. So, please forgive me if I've already asked this, but can you tell us your name? As I was saying earlier, you can touch that green light, or there's a box over on the floor that you don't even have to touch. You can get close to it, and it will light up a whole bunch of different pretty colors. It makes kind of a strange sound, but I promise you it will not hurt you. It just lets us know that you are here. If you'd rather tap on the floor, on the wall, feel free to do so. How old are you? Can you light up the device, the green light, looked a little bit. If you are between the ages of 5 and 10? Oh, wow. Solid.
Is that used, is it Sarah? Is this Sarah that is here? Can you light that up if it's Sarah?
Was Sarah one of the,
She has been in touch with us for
Okay. Okay. Hi, Sarah, if that's you, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Is Ken here? Ken, are you here? If you're here, Ken, can you light that light?
Yep, there it goes. Solid.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
He used to be our manager. He
Ah.
used to live in this building and he died at 11. He was 67 years old.
He didn't die in the building, though.
No.
Okay.
So Ken, when you were alive, you were a little skeptical on the other side. Are you still skeptical? On the other side? Does it exist? Can you tell us? Can you light the light and tell us that it exists?
Oh. Okay. Obviously, somebody with a little humor. That's
Like
great.
that. Yeah.
That is great. If you were in this orphanage from 1866 to 1877, what kind of food did they feed? Okay. What kind of food did they feed you here? Is Bob really friendly to you and the other orphans here? Flipped. I'm sure he appreciates that. You know, I'm here because I want to hear your story. How long were you here? How old were you? How did you get out? Well, whoever was communicating with me and Bob on this device with a green light, thank you so much.
With less than 10 minutes left in my lockdown in the old Civil War orphanage, I made one last visit to the pit where countless young children were shackled, beaten, starved, neglected, and possibly even died in a final attempt to communicate with any souls that may have been trapped in this hell, desperately looking for a way out, a way to move on.
I need somebody to communicate with me. Because it's almost time for me to go home. And while I would love to stay here longer, I do have to go soon. So I would appreciate it very much if you could light up one of the devices. Remember this little Yorkie here? He's yours. I want you to have him. And it's from myself and my two boys, ages 8 and 10, who would have been about your age in the orphanage. Is there anybody down here with me? Starting to wrap up this investigation, and it's kind of a different feeling down here than the last time I was here. It's not so heavy. I don't know if it's more upbeat. I don't know if that's the word. Those interesting K2 spikes upstairs with me and Bob. Somebody was in that lunchroom with us. I'm not sure if it was a person who used to live here a few years ago that passed away 5 years ago. I don't know if it was an orphan. I don't know if it was Rosa. Maybe it'll always be a mystery. I don't know. Until I have a chance to listen to all of the audio and watch the video from this investigation.
This old orphanage, opened 150 years ago to show love, compassion, and kindness to orphan children, was instead a home of violence, abuse, and neglect. After spending 2 hours in this building, and some time to reflect on the events that occurred not just 150 years ago, but the night of the investigation, I've learned something from this place. We all can learn something from this place. For me, it's inspired me to view my own life and the world in which I live in a whole new way, by showing kindness to complete strangers, being more compassionate to others, and realize no matter how many punches life throws at me, I've got it pretty darn good.